All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about a moment in history that, honestly, feels a little too familiar. A time that might just hold a really important warning for us today. I mean, think about it for a second. Soaring markets, a ton of political tension, and that feeling, that little voice in the back of your head saying, this time is different. Sound familiar? Because here's the thing, it's not a new feeling, not at all. It's actually a direct echo from the past. And that is exactly why we're diving into this new book, 1929. The whole point here isn't just to give you a history lesson. No, the author makes it clear this is basically a blueprint for understanding the massive forces that are shaping our world right now. Okay, so to really get a grip on what's happening today, we've got to go back. Way back. We need to go inside the event itself, the one that you could argue changed everything. And listen, this was so much more than just a bad day for the stock market. The 1929 crash, it was a full-blown national trauma. We're talking about fortunes that literally vanished into thin air. But the shockwaves, man, they ripped through the entire country, kicking off the Great Depression and leaving a scar on a whole generation. Now, when you're trying to understand something this huge, this complicated, you really need a good guide, right? Someone who knows the landscape. And in this case, the author is no stranger to this kind of story. The author is Andrew Ross Sorkin, and if that name sounds familiar, it should. His last big book was Too Big to Fail, which is pretty much the definitive history of the 2008 banking crisis. So this guy has a serious track record of taking these huge, messy financial dramas and making them not just understandable, but absolutely gripping. And it looks like he's done it again, because the reaction to 1929 has been just incredible. I mean, it's not just a #1 New York Times bestseller. It was one of Barack Obama's favorite books. It got named a Best Book of the Year by Time, The Economist, Bloomberg, pretty much everyone. When you see praise like that from all sides, you know you're dealing with something special. You know, the Wall Street Journal really hit the nail on the head. They called it one of the best narrative histories I've read. And that's the key word right there, narrative. This isn't some dry, dusty textbook. It's a story. And that, right there, is what makes this book so powerful and so different. So let's talk about that story. Let's get into it. Because the big idea here, the core argument of the book, is that if you really want to understand the crash, you can't just look at the numbers. You have to look at the people. See, this changes everything. It reframes the whole event. The crash wasn't some technical glitch in the financial system. No, the book argues it was a deeply, profoundly human failure. It's a story about raw power, about human psychology, and maybe most of all, about illusion. You know, that contagious feeling when everyone's making money and it feels like the party will never end. That's what this book gets into. The euphoria, the fear, and that incredibly dangerous belief that a boom can go on forever. And at the heart of this human drama, you've got these incredible characters. On one side, you have the visionaries, the titans and dreamers who genuinely thought they were building a better world. And on the other, the fraudsters, the financiers whose ambition and greed just spun out of control, bringing the whole thing crashing down. So you might be asking, how does he paint such a vivid picture? Well, Sorkin got unparalleled access to newly uncovered documents. We're talking stuff that people haven't seen before. And that lets him take you right inside the boardroom, behind the scenes, into the very rooms where these huge decisions and these fatal mistakes were being made. Which brings us back to where we started, and really the most important point of all. This book isn't just about looking back at something that happened 90-some years ago. It's about what that story means for us, right here, right now. What you get is basically a blueprint for understanding our own time. It shows you the cycles of speculation that just keep repeating. It helps you see the powerful forces that drive these huge financial upheavals. And maybe the most critical lesson of all, it teaches you to spot the warning signs, the ones we all tend to ignore at our own peril.
So yeah, this is way more than just a history book. You could call it a warning, one that's been echoing for almost a century. And it leaves us with a really simple but really powerful question. Are we actually listening this time?
The link to this book is in the video description.